Good morning. How is everyone? Come on in and get situated. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and we're going to be doing our home yoga practice live today. I just thought I'm just going to refresh my space. This is thieves oil. I didn't make this one, but I can make some myself at some point in time. I think cinnamon, clove. I would be remiss in all of the things that are in thieves oil, but this one I got. If you're local, you could go to Triple Goddess on Michigan. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you all for understanding yesterday. A lot of fun doing a recording for AARP about Tai Chi. And if you are interested, we're going to be starting a series class in November about Tai Chi. This week, our home yoga practice is going to be on binding and being bound. So if you have a strap or a belt or a scarf, anything will do. You might want to have one handy. It isn't always necessary. Sometimes our various body parts easily reach one another, and other times they don't. So this can be helpful. All right. Let's actually start our practice today standing. I know I was trying to be good about keeping these on, but I'm going to take them off. I'm going to venture to seeing on my own. Feel free to say hello if you're joining us. Get your space all set up. Good morning, Claudia. And we'll start in a standing space. Said that this week's theme is going to be binds. And the term in Sanskrit is bandhas. So if you know bound angle, bandha konasana. Kona is angle, bandha is bound. Being bound together, held together. What do we hold on to? What do we cling to? When we hold, are we gripping? How do we hold? What is it helping us bring together? What is it helping us find some ease within? So as we check in our mountain pose, feeling our root and our rise, feeling our entire body, how it is holding itself together, it's bound to itself. So let's feel how we are held together. It's a wonderful way of coming into your practice. How are we held together in our heads, in our thoughts? How are we held together in the eyelids, in our ears, what we're listening to? How are we held together in our words and our voice? Just on a physical level, how is our skin holding our flesh, holding our bones? Check in. Let's check in with the breath. How is the body being a container for your breath? How is your breath being a container for your actions and your intentions? Let's start with a nice easy movement flow to kind of move the juices, see what wants to move, what doesn't want to move. Good morning, Candy. Your feet don't have to be together. They can be apart. Let's not be bound to an idea. Let's breathe in and lengthen upward. Exhale, gentle side bend. Just push the legs down. Notice if you're going too far. We're here to connect. Remember that yoga means to create a connection. Breathe in, root down in the legs and lift. Exhale over to the other side. What's feeling stuck? What's still holding on when we're asking for a little freedom? Breath in, let's lift, and let's twist. If we can widen the arms out, twisting, shoulders down. Don't hold on or grip in between the shoulder blades. Breathe in, ease and steadiness in your practice. Exhale, twisting to the other side. Sthira Sukha in our body practice. And we're linking the mind practice with the body practice. Breathing in and lifting. Exhale, forward fold. Lightly bend the knees if you wish here. Everything is just getting started this morning. Notice how you are starting your practice, because that's how you're greeting yourself this morning. Are you starting off your practice aggressively or with a huge expectation? How is that setting the tone for how you're meeting yourself today? And let's round the spine up to standing. Good. Let's breathe in and lift. Shoulders down. Exhale, forward fold. Knees can be soft. And maybe sway a little left and right. We're still checking in on what's going on. Feel the flesh in your feet and your ankles. Check in. Say hello to a checklist of body parts. Say hello to a checklist of emotions. Say hello to a checklist of thoughts. And let's lift the chest up halfway, half flat back. And we'll bring the hands down and step back to a version of plank that works for you. So that could be hands and knees plank. That could be extended plank. We're just getting started. How are you meeting yourself this morning? Connect. Let this be the great diagnostic that we're using for, okay, how am I starting my day? How am I intending with my body and my mind? And we'll lower down to our belly. Feel your flesh softening against your mat. Walk the hands back a little bit. And let's breathe in and lift the chest. Hips stay down. How are you doing this movement? Are you being harsh? Are you being soft and accepting? Breath in. Exhale. Lean on back into the knees. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling your heels up and down. Say hello. Move different body parts. Check in with what wants to talk. Check in with the areas that don't want to talk. We'll look forward, bring one knee down, step the other foot up. It's a great way to transition to coming up to the top of the mat. Step the other leg up. Rolling the spine up, patient. Arriving back in our mountain. Make it a new experience. The body has been moving, so it is a new experience. Everything is new. Now let's breathe in and lift up and maybe thread the fingers. I'm going to back it up here a little bit. Thread the fingers and flip the palms up. So we've got a bind here. What are we noticing and feeling sensation-wise in the knuckles, in each finger, maybe even the wrists and the forearms themselves? What is this bind, this holding together, giving us in terms of sensation awareness? And how much ease? Is it easier to hold our arms up? Is it more difficult? Do you know? All right, breath in. Exhale, gentle side bend. What's different? What is this binding affording us to feel differently? Maybe to notice what's super tight. Maybe notice what's feeling a little more free. Breath in. Exhale over. Learning a little bit about ourselves in how we behave and react inside of bound places. Even our expectations. Breathe in and twist. Press the legs down. Lift the arms up. What are we more heightened aware? What is our awareness more heightened around right here? I feel like I have a greater awareness of my waist, my belly with the bind. And come back to center and twist. Rather than when we had the arms open, I felt like it was a lot of work for my shoulder blades to hold those arms separated out wide. Press the legs down, Lift and grow, shoulders releasing, coming back to center. See how far back we can take those arms. What are we noticing in the shoulders, armpits, neck? Work the neck a little here. What is this binding helping come together for us in awareness? And turning the neck left and right. Breath in, breath out. You don't have to be going super fast. Are there areas of the body where you're losing sensation? Change anything and release those arms. Good. Bend the knees. Pull the butt back. Lift the chest. Arms open wide, and then we'll reach them behind the back. Find the interlace. Go ahead and let the hands rest right on your back or on your butt, and build the awareness from the feet and the ankles. We're in our yogic practice where we're connecting, we're unifying our mind, our thoughts, our emotions with our physical body and its abilities, and they're joining together with breath to try to work together in a harmony. Our expectations are not dominating our body. Our body isn't dominating our breath or our mind. They're working together. Feel the collarbone and chest area. Maybe start to lift the wrists off of your back. What's happening to the breath in this bind? Notice from the shoulders, the chest, the upper arms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers. Let's scoop the tailbone down and up. What are we getting to learn and feel? What's coming together? What's ripping apart? When do you need to change something? Do we know, or do we often hold on too long? So long that we don't come out until we have deleterious effects. Start to straighten the legs. Keep pulling the arms down and away. Notice, can you change the amount of pressure, the amount of energy that you're applying to it? Do you hold on too hard, too tight? Hips forward, chest up, breath in. What are we learning about ourselves, about our physical selves, about our mental selves? And then we'll bring ourselves over. Now you get to choose how long you're going to hold this. Do you need to let the arms go? What are we first sacrificing? Are we sacrificing our breath here? Are we sacrificing our shoulder well-being? For what? For a look? For a feeling? Meet yourselves in a space of ease. Can you let your head hang? Can you start to be aware of isolating that awareness with the arms kind of bound together? Are there different areas of the body that we have a greater heightened awareness about because of the bind? I'm ready to release my arms. You let go when you're ready. There is no perfect here. So we get to explore and we get to change the amount of time we're in stuff each time, learning as we go. Wrapping our arms behind our knees. Feel that. It's a different kind of bind. Maybe just stroke your own forearms. This bind might feel a little loving. We'll bend the knees down, hug with the arms, and then pull. Pull the chest away. What do we feel in the bind that's making this easier? Maybe you feel a little more sturdy and solid. What changes about it if we're holding it a little longer? We might feel those thighs a little. We might have forgotten to breathe. Who are we and what are we noticing about ourselves? Our patterns, our reactions, our expectations right here. Breath in, breath out, and release. Let the upper body go, feeling the releasing of the bind. Is there a level of freedom that we're feeling here that we can keep with us wherever we are in a bind? Go ahead and wrap the arms once again, bending the knees, dropping the butt back, pull. You choose how deep you're bending those knees. Does the bind have to mean fight? What's coming up for us? Can we make this a little bit easier and stay? Breath. And release, forward fold. Breathe in, half flat back. Those hands can rest on the shins. They can come up to the knees. We'll bring the hands down, stepping it back to plank, lowering down to our bellies, breathing out. Now we'll bring the hands behind us and feel this bind, and it might feel familiar because we did it standing. Rest the head. What's going on? Are you squeezing in the fingers? Do you need to have your hands use a strap? What gets amplified here? Can you hear the sound of your breath more? Does your chest feel open? Do the arms feel relaxed or tight? And then start to lift the wrists up. If you can get the arms to be straight, what do we notice? Do you notice the upper arms, the armpit, the neck? What is starting to talk? What feels limited? What feels freer? How do the wrists and the forearms feel? How about the small muscles around your fingers and in your knuckles? Can you draw the shoulder blades down your back? Can you feel lengthening going on in your neck? How about the experience of your breath against your belly, against the floor? If you want, because you might be tired, you might need to let go. If you're still with it, you have some energy left, see about lifting your head, lifting the chest. And if you can apply energy through the wrists and the arms, does the bind help you lift? How is it providing ease? How is this bind creating strain? Is there a balance we can achieve between ease and strain? Breath. Lower yourselves down gently, relaxing the arms, eventually releasing those arms. Turn the head to one side. Breath in. Breath out. Feel the release of energy in your fingers, your hands, your wrists. On a bone level, on a skin level. Back of the shoulders, upper arms. Turn your head to the other side. Feeling ourselves unbound. How free do we feel when we are unbound? Place the palms down alongside the waist. Breathe in. Lift the chest for cobra, keeping the hips down. And then just notice how much more lift do we get? Do we feel more free? How does the arm, the chest, the neck feel? Feeling that difference, because we don't need so much core involvement to have that bending and that lifting in the belly. And pressing it back to hands and knees. Good. We're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips up, down dog. Breath in. Breath out. All right, we're going to bring the right knee down and step your left foot up. Some of you might need to either double up your mat under this knee or get a blanket to have under the knee for added cushioning. All right, so feel out how much pressure you're feeling on that knee. I'm going to lean my elbow onto the bent knee here, my front knee, my left knee. And I'm going to bend this right knee and lift and lower. That's all. So bend the knee, pulling the heel up and lower. And up. What do we notice about our balance, our stability? And lower. All right, so now this time, You might need to have a lasso ready, but some of you can bend the knee, maybe find your pant leg and lift. So now we are binding the arm and the leg together and lifting. Some of you can find a foot or ankle. Start to notice even your desire to achieve a goal of reaching and finding the foot. And how did you behave in that desire? Did you knock yourself over trying to get there? Try not to lose your ease and steadiness. So whatever grip you have, maybe you've used the strap to come around on the foot. You could bring it up and over your shoulder, or maybe you've got a short kind of scarf or towel to help you, and the arm then would still be back here. So you could use this as a pulley for your bind, or you could hold closer to the foot. But see about using the arm to help with that connection, that bind, to pull the heel a little bit more. This might really show you if you needed added padding under that right knee. Hips facing forward, what's different? What are we feeling? What is this bind affording us? Do you feel more stable? Do you feel less likely to fall? Is it helping you isolate an area of intensity? Is it helping you be free? Maybe in the upper regions of the body, or maybe tighter. Maybe you're applying so much in your bind that you're tightening up your shoulders and your chest. Maybe relax the leg down a bit and then pull again and notice. Breath in. Some of you are able to dip down in front of that hip forward a little. And because of that bind, I had a steadier travel down through that. And release. We're all going to notice something different about our own patterns when we are involved in binds. We get to look at our expectations. We get to look at our reactions. We get to look at our patience. Binding kind of helps really amplify and bring a laser focus into things that are out of balance. So let's try the other side. I'm just going to bring that knee back, step the right foot up. I'm not going to use the strap now since we all know kind of how to use that as a tool. I'm going to use my hands. So I'm going to rest forward again first. Start to notice already. Did you start to get ready to bind? Were you getting ahead of yourselves because you thought you knew, oh, that's where we're going, as opposed to, oh, we're going to just lift and lower? And that wasn't meant as a shaming kind of comment. That was one to just start to notice, yep, I always run ahead of myself. And that's something that we're stuck to, right? Binding is stuck, holding on. So if you can bring a theme into your practice like this, like binding, it almost doesn't matter the kind of postures that you do. You're getting to bring your awareness into your intention, your actions and reactions. So I'm just slowly lifting up and back. I can feel it in the front of my left hip and thigh a little, but not that much. Instead, the hamstring itself is kind of doing its own bicep curl. All right, now you might need to get your strap or your belt or something, but I'm going to grab the pant leg first. Oh, now I've got the ankle. Ooh, and I'm sitting upright. My left side definitely has a whole different experience that this bind has just wakened up. Things are really bright right now. Breathe into your chest, your shoulders. Breathe into everything you're feeling. And maybe soften around your intensity. Maybe if you feel like you're steady, you could lean forward, dipping down in those hips a little. That might amplify what's going on in the thigh. Whoa, bringing it back. Chest soft. What's at ease? What's fighting? What's going on in your bind? What's your hand even doing? What's your arm even doing? And we'll release. And we'll bring the hands down. Set your strap aside if you have it. We're going to step the right knee back. Find whatever plank is yours. Breath in. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Keep the hips down. Keep the low belly down. Maybe twist a little. Feel. And bring ourselves up to hands and knees. Tuck the toes. Your butt goes up, head goes down. Now in down dog, try to start to notice in your hands, are you dumping in your wrists? Could you distribute your body weight more evenly through the index finger, each digit? Don't just dump down into the wrists. Press with intention into the length of every finger that's on the earth. Your knees could be soft because if straightening the legs is too intense in the hamstrings, can you give yourself some ease? Let your head go. Deliberately soften your upper back. Look forward and let's step. Walk the feet up in between our hands. Rolling the spine up to standing. All right, we're going to do another kind of bind, and maybe these shoulders need it from holding. Sometimes when we do binds, we kind of will encourage ourselves to, constrict or restrict. So let's take this right arm across, start here. Just hold the back of this shoulder, maybe even creep the fingertips a little bit more around. Really get that hug aspect. This arm as straight as we can. And now we're going to, this is the bind. You've got a half of a bind, a nice little huggy grip going on here. And use that left arm to twist so it's the bind, so you can feel that arm pulling your whole rib cage around. Breath in, shoulder blades down, grow tall through the back of the neck. Now feel the space that's tightest in between both shoulder blades. It's being amplified by this bind. Can you let freedom into it? Now you can stay here, or some of you, I want to come above this elbow joint, so I'm going to stay up in this zone. You could bring this elbow here. Try not to apply that pressure on the elbow joint itself or above it. And if you find that you are sliding above it, come on back to the hug. Breath in and twist. How has this bind changed? Do you get more leverage? Are we applying so much pressure in the bind that we're losing sensation and feeling? Is somewhere in the arms or the wrists? Whoa. And release. Let's do a counter. So I'm going to bring the arms back behind. Change the threading of your hands. Maybe grab a strap and lift. Lift up and away from the body. Grow tall through the back of your neck. Can you feel discs separating from one another? Can you apply that kind of intention? What's easier here? Is it easier to breathe? Is it easier to stand? Is it easier to see? And release. Feel free to shake that out. Feel the impact of all of that binding and the releasing of binding. Looking at my arms, I guess they look kind of rubbery. That's funny. All right. We're going to take the other arm across. Don't shortchange yourself. Give yourself that much of a hug, feeling literally how much reach we have with that arm. Let that shoulder blade back here receive that love. Oh, it's getting a little bit of body contact, a little bit of personal contact. Breath in. Use the exhale to help you pull that shoulder around. Feeling the wrapping sensation, the getting bound up. Do we feel stuck? Do we feel trapped? How does this kind of bind make us feel? And what power do we have to bring some ease right here? What could you do right here? What's going on in your low spine, in your hips, even in the toes and ankles? Amplify and invite awareness of our current state and condition. All right, if you want to hook, great. Want to just get another good grab around that shoulder? Great. Breath in and twist, twist, twist. Ooh, just something more move. Is it just our perception that something more is moving? What's moving in the waist, the hips, the ribs? Oh, and gently release. Let's breathe in, lift, maybe interlace, or you could do a different bind here. You could grab around your wrist. So you could thread or no. Push the legs down. How does this bind, if we're using that to cinch around that wrist to energetically pull that right arm up and over to the left, what does the bind open up our awareness to? Can you lift also from the waist, from the hip? Breath, what's amplifying, what's becoming more free, what's closing and cramping. And breathe in. We all get to be aware and learn what's going on inside of our inner landscape, how we're aware of it, how we experience it, and whether it's something we wish to change in order to give us more freedom of movement and expression, more equilibrium and balance. And other side. I'm using this wrist cinch as the bind, pressing the feet down, lifting up in the waist, lengthening, observing and feeling the whole wrap around feeling around that waist and what's getting amplified along the whole left side of my body. Where is it more intense? Where is it less intense? Feeling it at the base of the rib cage so it isn't even in the middle of the ooey gooey squishy parts. That's for me. It might be a different experience for you. Maybe you're feeling it in the shoulder socket. Breath in. That might let you know that you're putting too much pressure and pulling the joints away from one another in your shoulder sockets. Let's rotate, loosen up, change direction. All right, we're going to root down in our mountain, pushing down with the right leg. Ask your left leg to lift. Doesn't have to be very much. What's going on in the rooted leg? How much wobbling? What part of the rooted leg foot are you on? And bring it down. What section of that foot was taking most of the pressure? Feel that, receive it, and let it go. We're going to root in the other leg and lift. Wah, wah. And bring that down. All right. I'm going to turn sideways here. We're going to bend forward. And why don't we bring our hands to the floor, or if you need a chair or a block, maybe do that. Push down with the right leg and lift the left knee up into the chest. Feel the body parts that are doing the work, that are doing the pushing down to give you support. Feel the core parts that are coming together to give you the strength to lift. Lower. We're going to root down in the left leg and lift the right. Breath. Feel your chest leaning forward, or are you dumping? Did you let the chest go? What role does it have to play? What is your experience of the parts of the body that are pressing and in contact with something? And lower that down. All right. I'm going to bend my knees a little. I'm going to bring my right hand to my hip. I'm going to see if I can just do this frontally. Knees are going to stay bent as though your hands were on that block. You might need a strap, so feel free to watch first. I'm going to bring my peace fingers and thumbs around my big toe and keep my knees bent. If you feel like, I think I would rather use a strap around the bottom of my foot to hold on to the foot, go ahead. I'm just going to turn sideways here. So we're just going to see if we can just lift the right foot straight up. Breath, just an inch. Breath, and down. And switch. Take your time. Do each piece. Be present. Be aware of what's going on. What's going on in your right foot right now. Your right knee. Sorry, your left foot and your left knee. Find your grip or get your strap for the bind. But probably need to put more body weight in the left leg so that you can lift the right leg off the earthen edge. Notice your desires. Do you want to come higher? Do you not want to be here at all? And bring that down. Release. Let's roll it up. Woo, let's shake it out. All right, so we're getting to feel what's my root? What's my core? What's that bind going to do? Or is it creating a distraction? Do things that bind us up take all of our attention when there's other stuff in our lives and in our bodies that need some attention? How do we respond to our binds? How are binds freeing us? How are binds creating less freedom? All right, we're going to try this again. I'm going to come and bind around my left foot. I'm using my fingers and thumbs. Both knees are soft. Right hand at the hip. I'm going to exaggerate bending those knees now. And I'm going to lift the left foot straight up. And I'm going to keep the left knee bent and straighten my right leg. What's going on? Do we feel anything in the arm? Do we feel anything in the leg? What's easier? What's harder? What's laughable? And lowering it down. I think that the bind helps me lower down with more control and grace. And I'm going to switch. I got a little cramp in my hip flexor here, so I'm letting that go. I'm going to find this leg. Breath. Reminding myself why I'm on my mat, because I want to connect with my mind and my body in balance so that no one part is dominating. See how they work in harmony. And I'm going to start to lift the right leg, not wanting it to be the same experience as the other side. And actually, that knee is going outside of my on my arm on this side. I'm okay with that. So I'm keeping that knee bent, but I'm straightening the standing leg. Maybe you feel strong enough, solid enough to straighten the spine, but keep the knee bent. How is that bind helping you? Does it give you a point of stability to press into because it's in contact with something? Do we know how to trust it as a new level of ground, a new level of solidity? Can we trust it to help us start to come back down? And let go. Deep breath. Ha. Half flat back. We'll plant the palms and step back to plank. Lowering down. Breathe in, cobra. Breathe out, come to hands and knees, and we'll find child's pose. Perhaps flipping the palms up. So knees wide is a great intro, great way to start in your child's pose. Give space for our bellies. And maybe it's not. You might need to figure out whether you need to have a blanket or added cushioning under those knees. I've mentioned that before. Relax your arms. If your head doesn't come to the floor, you could always bring your head and give it rest. Remember, ease and steadiness. Where is there ease? Where is there unease? Unease does not allow us to find balance and equilibrium. Unease is a great signal that something is out of balance. All right. We'll come up, bring the legs out in front of us. And then this one probably feels like a really common bind for this posture coming forward like this, called Paschimottanasana, or east-west stretch. But we'll take the strap, we'll bring it to the bottoms of the feet. You can choose how far apart you would like to have your legs. And then ask yourself, like, if you tend to always like grab the feet because that's something that's accessible to you, can you allow yourself to find a new way to bind? Maybe the deepest bind isn't where we always need to be. Are we willing to explore new ways of holding, new ways of rooting and gripping that might have a little less strain and a little less grip, but a lot more foundation? And we don't know unless we try. So if you are going to hold the strap, you can hold it as close to the feet as you can. Your chest rises, shoulders down, and observe how this bind is helping. Because if you lean the chest up and back a bit, there's probably a little less effort to have to hold this space. It also could be pulling your shoulder socket. So it was pulling. I have a really old injury in my right shoulder, and it started to talk, and I realized, I didn't have some nice solid space in that, drawing the shoulders back. I let a pressure pull on the ligaments in that shoulder, and it spoke to me. I got to listen. I got to change it and meet myself where I was. That's good connection, yoga, good connection. Breath in, lift through the top of the head, pushing the legs down. Exhale, pull chin and chest forward. Now try not to round the spine. Elbows can flare out to the sides. This is a wonderful posture to help us start to practice acceptance, contentment. What is the nature of the bind? Do we feel like it's pulling us into the pose? How do we practice acceptance and contentment when we're trying to pull? Where's the balance between striving and accepting? Breath in, breath out. Is acceptance a good word or is it a curse word? How do we even accept that as a term? How do we build it in as something healthy? Contentment, love. How are the arms feeling? How are the fingers feeling and the wrists? What could you do to stay and yet take some of the pressure off? Some of you might be familiar with a piece of Sanskrit. I like to say a mantra. Mana eva manushanayam. Karanam bandha mokshayoho. If you feel bound, you are bound. If you feel free, you are already free. So notice, where are you feeling bound? Where are you feeling free? Can you ask your bound spaces to become more free? Are we willing to learn new levels, micro levels of freedom? Let the arms go and let the upper body just hang. How is that binding affecting our mind? Is our mind stuck and bound on a certain way that this should look? Or is it open to just experiencing what we're feeling right here? What areas are feeling tight and limited? What areas are actually in a state of change right now? And how are we experiencing that change? Slowly rolling the spine up. What's changing right here? The notion or the focal point of binding also applies to our mental gymnastics. And eventually that yoga has to take us into observing what are the muscles in the mind stuck to? What are the thoughts in the mind bound to, locked up within? All right, I'm going to scooch my way forward and lower ourselves down. Going to have the strap at the ready. And see if there are body areas that are tightening and tensing to lie down and like slowly ungripping. Feel that as a binding, something that's bound up, that's slowly releasing and softening like a knot. Knots are bound. Untie those knots or notice, yeah, that doesn't want to become untied. Feel your breath. Are there areas in the chest cavity and the abdomen where the breath just doesn't have any space to get into, where it gets bound up and can't flow? We'll invite the right knee in the chest and we'll bring the hands on top of the knee, and that's a bind, pulling that knee toward the belly. How did you execute that? Did you yank, tug, jerk your body? See that contact and how you come into the bind as an example of your relationship with yourself right then. Do we come into the bind aggressively? Do we come into the bind tentatively? How is this bind bringing some ease? Somewhere. My back and low back really like this bind. My shoulders can relax. It helps compress the thigh against the belly for me, and it just is a nice, yummy feeling. Also feel a little bit of a stretch in the other leg just from having that be lengthened. Now we'll bring in, just do a simple switch and bring the bind behind the knee joint. And if you wish now, by just hugging, this is like a hug, it doesn't feel like a bind. And we can see the power of our words. The words inside of our head, the words that are coming out of our faces, of even how we refer to the bind. Maybe you want to just transfer those words and call it a hug, and just notice how you treat yourselves, how you behave differently. While the action might be more or less the same, but our intention changes. Maybe start to see about straightening that leg while you bind. You might notice that, I have to apply a little bit more energy in the bind, or I've got to let it off in order to straighten that leg. Can you soften the shoulders? How's the rest of the body reflecting the bind? How is it being reflected in the clasp of the hands? I've actually just got my hands wrapped on top of one another. I'm not threading the fingers. I'm not grabbing a wrist. Could we hug that thigh a little closer to us? How do we behave when the body is saying stop? Is the body saying stop, or is the body saying maybe? Breath in, breath out. And release that leg down. And let's just have a breath or two, feeling the body unclench, right? Even though we had the bind around the back of that leg, other areas of the body tightened and clenched and got bound up too. And sometimes we never notice it until we start the process of letting go. So check the shoulders and the neck, the hips, the buttocks, the ankles. Without using the hands, we'll invite the other knee to the belly. And then wrap the hands around the knees. Choose the kind of bind you want. If you can't reach it, what can you use? You use the strap. Strap coming on top of that knee. Sometimes our thighs are really big. Our tummies and our thighs might have too much distance for us to really be able to reach there. So meet yourself where you are. Use that strap to bring that in. Now, usually this kind of maneuver, unless we have some injury, some damage to our hip or our spine, usually this kind of movement is comforting. It's like half of a fetal pose. And if we can spend time in a relaxing bind, spend some time just breathing in a no pressure zone with the bind, we get to notice what's comforting here. All binds don't have to mean intensity. There are some binds that can help us find spaces of ease and comfort and yum. If we've got any arthritis, any damage in those wrists or fingers, you might need to notice how you're clasping in the hand. We might not be able to get to that relaxation if you're white knuckling it and it's creating discomfort in the joints of your fingers. We'll bring our hold behind the knee now, or use the strap. Feel your breath. Notice your thoughts. And if you would like, you can start to straighten that leg while using those arms to just hold in place so that we can observe what changed, what's intensifying, what's finding a degree of yum, even in the intensity. Are there yummy intensities? Or is all intensity a screen? How can you vary your bind? And what does that do to the intensity and where in the body? Stay here and walk your hands up the back of the leg. Find a neutral space where you're not yanking with the arms, where you're not doing anything with the leg. They're just supporting each other to just hold this space. Soften your shoulders. What changed? What's more intense? Do you have any urge to pull that you're holding back against? Do you need to have more? Is more always better? Or is there a lot we're learning right here that we're getting to know, we're getting to experience? Now, if you want, elbows flaring outward, gently pulling energetically. May not even look like to the naked eye anything changed, but you feel it. In the upper part of that leg, in the back of the calf, maybe pointing and flexing in the heel and ankle. You know what you're feeling. Other people don't need to see your intensity. Do we apply our binds in our outside lives so that others see an intensity and it's taking us beyond what we can actually withstand and support with ease? Softly, gently release that leg. Let everything find some rest, some unbinding. We'll invite the other knee in. Hands behind that knee gently. Notice your mind. Are you already thinking? You're knowing where we're going. And are you getting there? Or are you absorbing what's going on right here? What gets stuck? When we experience something for the first time, we're a little more receptive, we're a little more patient and attentive. Notice when we get stuck in patterns, that's a way of us getting bound to thinking that we know. And what do we skip? We'll straighten that leg, walking the hands up that leg. Stop when the body says stop so that the shoulder blades are still resting on the floor. Softening your neck. How do we embody acceptance and contentment right here? How does the bind help us find this? The leg doesn't have to do anything. It's fully supported with the arms. How much can the arms not be doing right here? Can you test it? Can they kind of be supported by the legs? Contentment. And gently, if you want, you don't have to. You could be right where you are. That could be more than enough intensity, of a soft intensity. Maybe you want to see if the body wants to go a little bit further, but only if you can carry your ease and steadiness with you. In breath, in mind, what's still fighting? What do you need to back off so that you don't need to have that fight? Physically, mentally? And we'll gently release that leg. Notice how you're releasing the energy, how you're inviting unbinding as you lengthen that leg back out, resting the arms, resting the body, arriving in the mind right here. We'll walk the feet in and see about letting the bottoms of the feet come together, knees falling open. So we're reclined and in the bound angle, Baddha Konasana. Supta is reclining and we're in the bound angle where the feet are pressing together. But you may not feel that as a bind because maybe you don't feel like the feet are doing much. What is the angle allowing us to feel and experience in a level of intensity here? How much ease can we feel? Rest your arms. Now we're just going to, just for a moment, feel the pressing of the feet together and the pressing of the sides of those ankles into the floor to see if we can lift our hips. And breathe. Let the shoulders rest. Feet are pressing together. What's changed? What has ease? Where did the mind go and it gripped and thought, what? and then let go and found some ease. Where is the ease? How is this bind helping you find some ease? In your breath, in your mind, in your body. Maybe thrust the hips up, breath in, and lower your hips down. Let everything go. Stay here if you like, or straighten your legs for our final space of stillness and awareness in Shavasana. Being in the weight of our body, in the weight of our bones, in the fleshiness of our flesh. Being present with the ease of our breath. Being present with the ease in our mind. Non-attachment, detachment. Because binding practices help us notice clinging and attachment. Sometimes we have to know a thing before we can let go of it. To practice detachment. The ease of detachment. Start to invite simple movements. Notice how you're choosing to move, how your spirit and your mind and your breath and your body are one as they can be. Don't try to force anything, just feel how connected your level of expression on a physical level, on an emotional and mental level are. On a breath level. And we'll bring ourselves up to a seated space, however it is you wish to sit. I want to close introducing 3 bandhas, separate from baddha. I said baddha was bound, like bound angle, baddha konasana. But bandha has an N in it. It's an energy lock, okay? There's a little bit of physicality to it, but hopefully starting to train us to feel a solidity from within, as though there were a muscle that went up the center of us from the tailbone or the vaginal wall. I can only refer there because that is the body part that I own, or that's a part of me. I don't own it, okay? But so we'll do a sphincter squeeze or a Kegel. This is Mula Bandha. It may not hold very long. It may like grip and release, grip and release. Just notice it. Notice how it feels on your insides. When it releases, just re-engage softly. Notice how you grip. Do you grip and snatch? Right? If you used your hands as an example, what's going on the inside of you? How are you gripping on the inside? How are you grabbing a hold on the inside? See if you can hold that. And then we'll tighten the muscles at our solar plexus. as though you're getting ready for a light tap in the gut. So sometimes if we give ourselves that light tap, you'll feel that those muscles tighten so that you don't kind of cough. Good. See if you can hold now the Mula Bandha and this one, Uddiyana Bandha. Do we feel solid? Do we feel like this cylinder of solidity growing up within us? Can we breathe here? Locking our energy to conduct it upward, and now chin down, lifting through the back of the throat. So someone's lifting the back of your head and neck. A little tight restriction in the back of the throat. So now Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Jaladhara Bandha, and breathe. Whenever any space lets go, just see about re-engaging. What are we learning about ourselves? About how we feel when we let go of something and we go, oh, this should be easier, or this is hard. What are the stuck patterns in our mind? What's the nature of how we're holding? Are we white knuckling from the inside out? Can we conduct our energy freely? And relax. If you'd like to join for a single Om, maybe we'll see if that cylinder of our energy is a little freer to let the voice of Om come out. Nice deep breath. Hands to the heart center. The light in me recognizes the very same light exists inside of you. May we all go forth and shine. Namaste. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and this has been our home yoga practice live. This week, our practice is going to be on binding, bandha, and bandhas, energy locks. If you're new to home yoga practice live, this is a progressive planning kind of space of how to create a practice at home. So we create a yoga practice plan. This week it's going to be binding. And then we set an amount of time that we're going to practice. I love it if you're joining us here, but you could just have done today, and then for the next 6 days, practice at home your own versions of, I'm going to just explore binding. What is it that you want to learn about yourself, or you want to open yourself to exploring? Set an amount of time that you're going to practice. Observe while you're doing the practice. Write in your journal some of your observations. I get mad when this happens. I super tighten up in this area of my body. I'm starting to learn and connect. Yoga is a system of connection. After that, there's guidance. So we make a plan, set amount of time, observe, and then we seek guidance, maybe from a teacher, maybe from some reading material, as in some, divine texts, yoga texts, books. Choose a teacher and stay consistent and come on back. Namaste. I'll stick around just for a few moments. If anyone wants to share or ask any questions along the way, it's great to see those who have joined. I'm deeply humbled. If anyone feels as though they're learning something, they're growing something in their practice, I certainly am growing in my practice with all of you in looking at even in this one, how I am holding my energy in my binds, and what am I blocking from entering? What am I locking from releasing? Oh, so much depth of what we can be exploring when we hold our binds and let some truth unfold inside of them. Thank you. So glad to see everyone. Please share our videos if you find anything useful, and if it's in your heart or your pocket, feel free to give a donation at paypal.me/justbeyoga. Kara, good to see you. So tight in your lower back. Oh, doing those leg stretch on the back. Yeah. And you know what's great about that, Kara, when we're holding that and doing it in a nice, relaxed way, you can probably hold it for a longer period of time. And the body, the physical body, might finally get enough time to trust, to let go. Just another skosh. And can we accept that skosh and be grateful for that skosh and really appreciate that skosh, because we know what it took for us in mind and body collaboration to create a safe enough space for that release, rather than sometimes that yanking pulling, wanting it so badly, and the body's like, wait, it's not safe, wait, this doesn't feel good, right? Looking at our relationship with our body and learning from that and say, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't treating you really kindly. Right? It's like, hey, left leg, what do you want to do today? And it's like, what? You've never asked me. Oftentimes our bodies are like, wait a minute, you're really asking me? Oh. And the body has to trust that you mean it. So we've got to each day arrive on our mat anew and open to learning and exploring, and then just take whatever amount of progress that we're having, great, and just keep growing from there. Remember, it's a practice, not a perfect. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you for that share. Actually, I'm going to put it up there in case the people who are on YouTube, they can't see the Facebook comments unless I flash them up. So great share. Great observation. All right, everyone, go forth and do good things. Namaste.